Carl Gillespie, thank you for being here. We went to Israel together, and you're a state representative in North Carolina. And we also have Mark Pless. Where's Mark at? He was here earlier. Mark is also a state rep. And Carl, you serve on the Ag Committee in North Carolina, right? And your chairman is Jimmy Dixon, isn't that right? He's a turkey farmer, turkey grower. Turkey. He grows some turkeys. Well, honored to have you here, my friend, and we appreciate you. We're going to start this thing off. We need to get somebody to say a prayer, and I think I'd like to have Chairman Burns. What is your number down there? 14. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you would, join me in prayer. Father God, we're grateful. We're blessed. We're humbled to serve and to work hard for our friends and our neighbors and our communities and our state. Ag is the number one industry, and we have to protect it and support it and enhance it. Give us your guidance and your love and your wisdom. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Oh, thank you. All righty here. We're going to start out here. We've got there we go. All right, guys. This first bill we have is Senate Bill 435. This is a bill that I authored, came at the request of the Georgia Development Authority. I served on the board of the Georgia Development Authority before I was in the state Senate. All it does is, previously it was called the Georgia Agricultural Development Authority, and at some point in time it got changed to the Georgia, took the agriculture word out. And so we know that that's a state-run lending institution that our Commissioner of Agriculture, Tyler Harper, serves as chairman of the board. Well, they've been started getting calls from county commissioners and mayors and folks like that from across the state thinking that they could borrow money through the Georgia Development Authority. And so the Georgia Development Authority obviously is something that's set up for farmers. And so they came to us just to eliminate any confusion to add agriculture back into it. So it'll be the Georgia Agriculture Development Authority. So I wanted to present that. I hope everybody will be okay with that. Does anybody have a motion? All right, we have a motion do pass. We have a second. So we have a motion do pass, Chairman Anderson, and we have a second from Senator Kemp. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you all for that. All righty. Our second bill is House Bill 163. I apologize. So, Jordan, I want to tell you something. You're better looking than that Jason Ridley that's on here, that Jordan, But anyway, thank you for bringing your bill, and the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
There we go.
So the bill's pretty simple, 2 pages. All we're doing is making sure cell-cultured meat or lab-grown meat is labeled in restaurants and plant-based meat is labeled in restaurants. Currently in law, they're labeled in grocery stores. Commissioner Harper had that bill when he was a state senator. We're just taking it one step further, making sure the food service establishment label it as well.
All right, good deal. And I believe you also have some language here that is basically just a friendly amendment that basically all it does is it make sure that it includes both paper and digital menus, basically.
Yes,
and
sir.
So I think members of the committee, you'll find that in your folder. So with that, do we open it up for questions from Representative Ridley? Okay. Senator Kemp, are you 16? Okay. Go ahead.
It's not necessarily a question for him, but I see a letter in here from the Restaurant Association. Are they lined up to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. Senator Howard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the bill. How prevalent is lab-grown meat in our food industry now?
It's a growing industry. Currently in the United States, it's not too large. You see it in places like DC, California, New York. Georgia doesn't have anyone that we know of yet, but in places like Europe, it's actually extremely popular. They approved it years before the United States did, but you're seeing that growth here in the United States. So we're expecting to see it, in restaurants here soon as well. So we're just trying to get ahead of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Senator Chairman Anderson.
Thank you for the bill. I know you're saying restaurants, but what about like convenience stores?
When it's coming in a packaged already, Commissioner Harper's bill handled that. This is for food servicing establishments, like when you're in a restaurant or any place like food truck where it's coming not in a packaged container that is on the menu so you can see it. It's like in a grocery.
But what I'm getting at it, some convenience stores now have a food that they offer.
Yes, sir. So they'd have to be labeled as well.
They be labeled.
Yes, sir. It talks about if it's not on the menu, they have to have say like a buffet or like in that situation,
Yeah.
they'd have to have a placard that says it's lab grown meat.
Okay.
Senator Watson, Chairman Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You may not be able to help me with this, maybe the next speaker, but are plant-based meat alternatives and cell cultured meat, are they inspected at the production level or at the lab grown level or wherever whatever happens to make them is made or done? Is that inspected by anybody?
On plant-based meat, I'm not sure. On lab-grown meat, the FDA handles it. They're the ones who approved it to be sold in the United States.
So, but their facilities are on regular schedule?
Yes, sir.
FDA approved?
Yes, sir.
Safety and food safety inspections
Yes,
are done? Okay.
All righty, do we have, yes, sir, Chairman Burns, number 14.
Just a question. So we've had the imaginary Whopper, is that right?
Yes,
Or
sir.
what do they call it? Anyway,
Impossible.
it's not beef, right?
Right.
So we've had that, and would you suggest that that they're currently advertising it appropriately?
So,
And
the Impossible Burger is a.
is that what it is?
It's
I thought
a-
it was imaginable.
That's a plant-based.
Oh,
That's plant-based, so that's not cell cultured. That's a plant-based food, and the bill does talk about making sure it's properly labeled. But when they're saying it's an Impossible Burger, they are already labeling that is a.
maybe it's an
plant-based
imaginary burger.
option. It could be.
Could be. Thank you.
All righty, I don't think we have any further questions here, so I know that the Restaurant Association wanted to speak, so if you want to come forward and give us the good word.
Excuse me. I don't know how good it'll be, but thank you so much for your time. Scott Bierman with the Georgia Restaurant Association. I know Senator Burns mentioned a minute ago that the ag industry is the number one private sector employer. Restaurants are number two, so we guys help each other out. We need y'all need us to sell your stuff, so we're happy to be in this committee and find any way we can work together. We do have, there's a letter in your folder where we kind of outline some of our concerns, not with the overall bill. I think the overall bill, especially when it comes to the cell-grown portion of the bill, we wholeheartedly support. This is an industry that is growing in some parts of the world. I think there was a question earlier of how prevalent cell-cultured meat is in the United States. Right now, or as of a couple years ago, we knew there were two restaurants, one in San Francisco and one in Washington, D.C., that sold them on occasion, not every day. It would be a special once a month, once every quarter or so. They have both since quit because it is too expensive and too hard to get, basically, to sell. It wasn't kind of a return on their time and their money on the restaurant side. There was another restaurant down in Florida that tried it with the cell-cultured salmon, but that didn't last very long either. So right now, again, I can't tell you what's on the menu of every restaurant across the United States, but our best guess, it's between 0 and 1 at this point who are selling cell cultured meat. And then as you know, I talk to my members about this issue, and we talk about the cell cultured side of this, and they all look at me like I have 5 heads because they wouldn't want to sell cell cultured meat. There's something about cutting into a proper ribeye and having a good steak dinner or having a good burger that they don't want to get involved in. And just some of the science behind the cell cultured stuff, I think, to the bill sponsor's point earlier, is a little questionable at this point. So on that side, yeah, if you're going to sell it, I think it should be well known that you are selling a cell cultured burger, just so that science is so new. On the plant-based side, I think that's where we do have a little bit of, we'd love to see that part pulled out of the bill. Not because we want to hide what people are eating. We think it's important that people know, but almost to Senator Burns' point a minute ago, you go to a Burger King, you can get an Impossible Burger, you can go anywhere else right now. The industry is doing a great job of self-policing. We don't hear many complaints from consumers coming in thinking they're getting a beef burger when they're really getting a plant-based burger. We do a really good job of that. So our ask would be to let the industry continue to police themselves. Let us continue to use the market as a driver on this side, and just really make sure that again, if there's a problem, I think we can address it. If we're finding out that restaurants are tricking people into eating vegetables, I think we can talk about that. And we're happy to address the bad operators. But I think this is something that we're already doing. We're already kind of addressing, and so we'd like to just leave it as is. But I'm happy to take. I know there's some questions a minute ago, so I'm happy to take questions.
Number 14, Senator Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, thank you for bringing the input from the Restaurant Association. And not to make light of it, I appreciate and respect those who choose to eat plant-based products. And I recognize the potential health benefits of that. At this point in my life, I choose a steak and a burger, but it's okay. Now, my question is, what percentage of your industry is utilizing a plant-based versus a meat-based product as a substitute for a meat-based product? Is this?
Well, I think we're seeing it more and more. I don't have a firm percentage for you. I think we're seeing it more and more as an option. For our industry, our profit margins are roughly around 3 to 5%. So any way we can get a new consumer in the door, we're trying to do it. We're trying to find ways to get people to come in and eat at our restaurants. So when we have the vegan folks or vegetarian, we're trying to find more ways. So on the fast casual side, the fast food side, you're seeing more like, I know Chipotle, I think, offers a tofu version. Burger King offers an Impossible, and I'm going to be missing a few. And then some of our sit-down restaurants are offering either the Impossible meat. So I can't give you a firm percentage. I know it's probably not the answer you're looking for, but it's growing on what we're providing. Impossible meat was first on the scene in 2016, so 10 years ago. So it's been around a while. I think the consumers know, and again, they seek that out as an option when they're going, especially our vegan and vegetarian friends are looking for that. A very good number are doing it.
If I could, just one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
How would this legislation negatively impact the restaurant industry? In other words, if it were to include
Sure.
both plant-based and
Sure.
lab-based products, how would this legislation negatively impact you? Because back to my friends at Burger King, they told me up front what this is, and they advertised it and they promoted it in order to get maybe the vegetarian folks. So how would this bill negatively impact the restaurant association?
No, that's a great question. From our perspective, when you're adding in an additional government regulation, something else that we're having to make sure we're checking that box on. We have the example I used earlier, speaking to the chairman earlier. Pinky Cole has a restaurant here in town, and she's has certain language she uses to describe her menu items. I don't know where the Representative Ridley and I live very close to each other up in Cherokee County. I don't know that language would fly up where we live. So it allows the market and the restaurants to address to their consumer base how they describe their items, how they label those items. And again, for our operators, like a lot of small businesses, a lot of farmers, a lot of folks who are in this sector, it's a lot of, you wear a lot of hats. You're the owner, you're the operator, sometimes you're the busboy, sometimes you're doing dishes, sometimes you're doing everything. It's one less thing to make sure, hey, this is something else I got to check off, as opposed to something they're already doing of making sure they're clearly describing what's on their menus.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Watson.
Thanks, sir. Back to the plant-based, just because I don't know, who inspects that to make sure that that's a safe product when it's manufactured? Is the Department of Agriculture involved in that? Is FDA involved in that?
I
or-
believe it's the FDA on a federal level that does the inspection process and goes through to our mainline distributors and on down.
Is it done in like a lab, or is it?
I'm
how
not
do you-
sure. I don't want to get out
just-
over my skis here and say too much. I know the FDA does it. Well, I'm not exactly sure how they do the inspection.
You know, I just know on the beef side and on the vegetable side, we have inspections at the farm level, we have inspections at the value-added level, we have inspections all the way through the process, multiple times, multiple different people. And a lot of this stuff, I guess, I just don't know what it is, and I don't know how they make it, and I don't know who's looking at it to make sure that it is what people say it is.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And I'm happy to find more information on the inspection process on the plant-based alternative, the Impossible meat, and share that with you. Happy to do so.
All right, thank you. And I had a discussion with the Restaurant Association earlier today, and so I'm one of those folks that I believe that if someone is eating plant-grown meat, they have the right to know that that's what they're buying. I know that y'all have a little bit of concern with inspectors as far as menus and all that, and I told them if it gets to be a problem that I'll draft a bill and we'll come back, but I just kind of like my mother used an expression, borrowing trouble, don't go borrowing trouble, but I do think that consumers do have they should know whether or not what they're buying on their menu is traditional meat, or if it's meat that's plant-based, or meat that is lab grown. We're going to go now to Senator Howard.
Thank you. Appreciate those comments. As a business owner, trying to change packaging, signage, that's an extra thing that can be, just one more thing to a list of headaches that you already have. Is there a time, limit on? I tried to read it through. Maybe I missed on the bill. Does it say within 12 months of becoming law that this needs to be implemented? Being that we don't have what is this, cell cultured meat phenomenon happening right now, is there a way that we can give plenty of time for our restaurants to be able to make these changes without having to scramble and do it when the law comes into is enacted?
I would say, most laws go into effect July 1st. They have several months. Most restaurants, they update their menu on a quarterly process. So we would have it out of here at the governor's desk, and they'd have a whole quarter to update it. So again, most restaurants are quarterly. Where I went to dinner last night, it was a monthly update on the menu. So I think.
And also, Representative Ridley, if all the restaurants are doing like they say they're doing, they're not going to have to change it because they're already telling folks that it's plant-based or cell-based. You know what I mean? All right. I'm sorry. You have another question, Senator?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Senator Kemp, I'm sorry.
Two questions. One, to the Restaurant Association. Like, my understanding is if I go to Burger King, I know I'm getting an Impossible Burger, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Have there been any instances that you're aware of where restaurants are saying you're getting a hamburger, but really it's an Impossible Burger?
Not that we're aware of, and it's actually against the health code to say you're selling somebody one thing and give them another. So that's, you can't go and say, I'm giving you a ribeye, but it's actually a mushroom. You have to say, you have to actually, have truth in menu labeling from that regard, and that would be a health code violation.
All right. And Representative Ridley, I would like your thoughts on if we were to propose removing plant-based.
I believe, having it codified in law, like he said, they're already doing it, so I don't see a problem of codifying it to make sure bad actors don't do it, and like Burger King's great. It's a great example. They're a national chain. They're probably they're complying with other states that already have these laws. So I think Georgia just codifying it's more on your smaller local businesses or regional compared to Burger King, who may not be doing that already. But as the Restaurant Association said, people are already doing it, so I don't see an objection to codifying something that he said the majority of people are already doing.
Well, from my understanding, it would be beyond them saying it's an Impossible, or they would now have to put on there this is plant-based, correct? Is that what this would require them to do?
again, with an Impossible Whopper, you know, what is an Impossible Whopper? You know, because tomorrow it could be something different, you know, because it's impossible. It's not defined what it is. So it's just, again, clarifying for the consumer what they're actually getting.
All right, Senator Hatchett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for the author. What is the punishment for failing to do this? Because I don't see anything in here about what happens if you don't.
It's in the code section that talks about health inspections. So when the health inspector comes in, they'll be inspecting it, just like when you go to a restaurant, it says undercooked seafood or things like that can cause, you know, birth defects or pregnancy issues, things like that. So it's going to reflect in their health score.
So then the enforcement mechanism would be the health inspector?
Correct.
Okay. And so if I were a restaurant and I had a black bean burger, I think that's something that's popular, and I put it on the menu, I'd have to say black bean burger made from plants?
It would have to be labeled as it says a
Or
plant-based
meat alternative. Even though it says black bean burger.
Well, you could put, again, it has to be
I'm sorry,
displayed-
that's a bad example.
But it has to be displayed on the menu. So, like, again, you see restaurants all the time put an asterisk beside something, and at the bottom, it can say all these are plant-based alternatives.
And that's conspicuous enough for this bill?
That's
Like
how,
an asterisk?
yeah, like that's how you see with seafood and shellfish. That's how a lot of restaurants do it. They have that statement on the bottom, and they're they have the asterisk on the menu item.
Okay. No more questions.
All right, do we have any further questions? All right, what's the will of the committee? All right, we have Chairman Burns makes the motion do pass. I'm sorry, go ahead, Senator Kemp.
I would like to offer an amendment. After.
Okay, yeah, okay, so
I
we
was
have
just
a
letting you
motion
know.
do pass, and we
You
have a
came to me,
second
so,
from
yeah.
Chairman Watson. Okay, now you can go ahead and, Senator Kemp, if you'd like to offer your amendment.
Yeah, I would offer that on line 17, we strike the words or plant-based meat alternatives. Remove lines 18 through 20. On line 25, strike plant-based meat alternatives, and the same for line 26.
You got all that? Hmm? You gonna talk about it?
Does he want to get rid of or both as well as one, since it says plant-based meat alternatives?
Repeat what you just said one more time, please, Senator.
All right. Line 17,
Mm-hmm.
strike or plant-based meat alternatives. Remove lines 18 through 20. On line 25, strike plant-based meat alternatives, and the same for line 26. It's a little more on line 26, so on line 26, I'll be more clear. 25, you also have to strike or both,
Okay.
right? Or both shall be labeled.
All righty. We
I
have.
think I caught it all.
Hmm? I'm sorry, go ahead, Senator.
To help his amendment out a little bit, I think on 21, you'll have to change the 4 to the 3.
Yep, there we go. Yes, you have to clean up, they have to clean up that, that's right.
You got that? Okay.
Does he want it right here? It says it in the as well.
Yeah. Senator, for the purpose of your amendment here, do you want to get rid of where it says plant-based meats on line 3?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. We have an amendment's been made on the floor. I'm sorry. I know, I'm asking, do I have a second? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. All right, I have a second. Is there any discussion on this amendment? All right, we're gonna start off with Chairman Watson. I'm sorry, we're gonna start off with Chairman Burns then.
Okay, I think, I appreciate the Senator's amendment, but I think it just basically guts the bill. And I'm not convinced that the burden on the Restaurant Association is so great as to require that we remove plant-based. I believe that people should know what they're eating, whether it's lab-based or plant-based or meat. I think the consumer deserves the opportunity to know exactly what they're eating, so I speak against the amendment.
All right. Chairman Watson.
Yeah, I just want to second that. I mean, we talk about regulations. I mean, I've got to do a fire drill at my packing shed for a social responsibility audit. And I just want a level playing field one of these days for what we do. And I feel like this is just not a level playing field.
Not trying to gang up, but I don't think it's too much to ask for people to know if they're buying plant-based meat. I don't believe that. But go ahead, Senator Howard.
Thank you so much. I'm speaking in support of this amendment. I think it's anytime we have an opportunity to have just less government in our business models as a small business owner, this is a death by 1,000 paper cuts. I understand this is not the biggest deal in the world, but y'all see how much paper we have in front of us and how much paper we have, those volumes and volumes and volumes of laws. Sometimes less is more, and I think this bill it's a good bill, and it'd be even better if it was specific to the issue that most people care about, which is the lab-based portion of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Eccles. Chairman Eccles.
Echo just a little bit about what I'm hearing. We spent a lot of time in here on a couple bills last year deregulating the food industry, and here we are regulating it. So I think we've got to decide which direction we're going to go. What you're telling me is basically this is already law and they're self-policing. Is that?
Yeah, I would agree that for the
Okay.
most part, our folks are
Thank
already
you.
doing it.
Okay. I have, who's number 13? Are you? Okay. All right, good deal. Well, we have a amendment that's been made and it's been seconded. Go ahead, Chairman.
We also have a friendly amendment that has been presented, and I want to just clarify the fact that we probably need to put both amendments on the floor before we start.
Well, can't we vote on the amendment separately?
I think we can.
Yes, sir.
And we would.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I believe we can. I don't have a PhD in
that was
Robert's
an
Rules of Order, but I
inquiry.
believe that's how we do it.
Thank you.
All right, there's been a motion that's been made, and we have a second. So is there any further discussion on the amendment that has been presented by Senator Kemp? All right. All in favor of the amendment, please indicate by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 ayes. All right, all opposed. All right. There's 3 opposed, so the amendment passes. Okay. Now, we have the friendly amendment. Oh, let's see what we got here. Do you want to speak to the amendment that's in the Representative Ridley? I'm sorry.
I understand the amendment. If I could have the discretion just to make sure we catch all the orbos and plant-based in there as I'm cleaning it up, if that would be okay with the committee.
Yes, ma'am. I think everyone will be fine with that.
Awesome.
Okay, good deal. Now, Representative Ridley, do you want to speak to your amendment?
The amendment that's provided, that was drafted by Ledge Council, it's just clarifying that a menu is whether printed or electronic. The original version just said on menus. Here we're clarifying that it's digital or printed, because I know you can go into a restaurant. You've all seen it where you scan the QR code and pull up the menu that way. So it's just clarifying that language, that even when they scan the QR code, it's still got to be labeled there.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on the amendment? Do we have a motion on the amendment? Okay. Senator Kemp.
I motion to approve amendment by inserting lines 2 through 3 in line 24. Do I need to read it off? Do I need to read it? Menu, okay.
Everyone has it in their folder. Okay.
You good?
Do it.
All right.
The,
LC 570176. And we'll be replacing line 24 with menus including but not limited to electronic menus, physical menus, and placard displays advertising such product, disclosures stating that such food products.
Okay. So we have a motion on this amendment. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a second from Chairman Watson. Is there any further discussion on this amendment? All right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Passes.
Thank you,
So
sir.
now we have to vote on the bill as amended. So do we have a motion to do pass for the bill as amended? All right. Chairman Burns? You already have that. Okay. Well, all right. Do we have a second? All right. All in favor of passing the bill as amended, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? No. Huh? Okay. So the bill passes as amended unanimously, right? Okay. All right. On to the Rules Committee.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Ridley, appreciate y'all. Oh, hold on. Okay. Hold on. We're not done yet. Go ahead, Chairman Anderson.
You know, it is fairly early in session,
Yes, sir.
and this is very rare that we start listening to House bills this early. Is it any possible way you can get your crew in the House to listen to some Senate bills
Well,
this early
I will say we have been listening to Senate bills in the committees I'm on.
and passing them too?
We passed Senator Rick Williams' bill last week in public safety, so I'll make sure to tell my other colleagues to keep doing the same thing.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. This meeting's adjourned. Appreciate y'all.